All right, everybody, you want to set your Google calendars and set the reminder because, of course, we have the EV event on Friday. The next day, on Saturday, starting at 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, the place to be is Jeff's Pirates Cove in beautiful Ipan, Talafofo. That's Mike Villagomez's hometown. For Arbor Fest, it's the Ridge to Reef. I have here Odessa, PJ, and Teddy with me, and we are going to talk about that. Odessa, by the way, also a KUAM alumni, so
Yes.
half a day, Wes. Yes, welcome home.
It's been a long time and
Yeah.
well missed. I missed working here. It's been fun.
Well, you're doing amazing things, and especially with an event like this, which means so much to our people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, from starting out back in the KUM days, I've always been active with events and creating artwork and designs for people, and so it led me to here as a program coordinator with your Department of Agriculture's Forestry and Soil Resources Division.
So how do we actually use, the expressive medium of art to get people interested in, in the importance of Arbor Day and in, getting people in, but more importantly, making sure that the message is not lost?
Well, yeah, we had a great team here. I mean, we have C. Grant, Yoji, Teddy, and PJ, and just all of our experiences gathered together, we were able to spread the word just through our networks. And so support with artwork that we built, like having a flyer that goes out, going there, and we heavily rely on our social media too to spread the word. And of course, with great networks like KUAM for letting us go on and talk about it more.
Hey, I got the easy part.
It's been good, yeah.
Okay, so let's ask PJ, why is it so important that people understand exactly what Arbor Fest is and getting involved with it and being active participants?
Well, pretty much our October is Arbor Month for Guam, so we're pretty much just kicking it off with a huge party of fun education activities. So we have our Department of Agriculture coming out and talking about, not only talking about their projects that they do to help the island and our jungles, our native species, combating invasive species and things like that. But yeah, what do we do to help the trees and how the trees help us? Pretty much just full of activities on Saturday. Okay,
well, Teddy, you folks at UOGC Grant do so much amazing work with awareness of our environment and the blessing that Mother Nature has given us. But at the same time, probably a lot of people like that. That's maybe an oversight by most locals like myself. It's like they just automatically assume Guam's got enough trees to go around, right? That's not the case.
Yeah, that's definitely not the case. I would like a heavy influx of trees on Guam, actually. Anywhere it could go, let's plant trees there.
Is there any part of the island that needs more trees, like right now?
So our project with the GROW initiative, Guam Restoration of Watersheds, we're focused in the Ugam watershed. In southern Guam, it's kind of central southern Guam, and it's the second priority watershed on Guam. It's responsible for about 2 million gallons of water being pumped out through Guam Waterworks Authority to provide for the southern villages. So that's where we're at. That's one of our, at Sea Grant's priority watershed areas. And then we assist with Department of Ag Forestry's watersheds further down in the further southern watersheds.
Okay, and I appreciate what PJ said because, I lived in Tumon for 11 years, right? So we had those big, nice, we had banyan trees, we had palm trees and everything, which were admittedly, installed because it looks really, really nice, like right in the middle of, the median in the street, right?
Yeah.
So it's good for the tourists. But they also, as you said, they're a haven for many of other species of animals and everything. So they also serve a functional purpose.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even too for us as a community, obviously the shade. Some of the things that we don't think about is the water retention. There's a lot of times when we, or whether it be any land steward that's in charge of their land, doesn't feel like this tree is functional for anything, and they cut it down, and then it becomes a flood zone or a flood area. So that's one of the things. One thing that I really like to talk about that we don't really think about is transpiration. Tree transpiration, right? We learn about it in school, and it comes out of this water vapor comes out of the leaves in this process to create energy. But what's awesome is that you have enough trees, and it actually, think about all of this water vapor that's leaving the trees, it actually cools your area too. So
that's God's air conditioning right there.
Exactly. So, for parties, for gatherings, but even to energy savings for your home, with the shade and transpiration.
Now, Odessa, if you don't mind, of course, I know your family very, 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 very well. We both went to Sanchez, and I know the part of Jigo that you grew up in. You got those big ironwood trees and everything like that. So this is something very near and dear to your heart.
It is. I mean, our conservation areas go from the north to the south. Of course, we have more popular areas with Department of Agriculture, our forestry area with our Kotal and our Asgadao area. So being up north and just on how relevant it is to us, it's really important. And you know, like when we have we don't really have those big, large trees that we do, and so hopefully over the years, like with my girls' generation, we'll be able to see bigger trees.
So we could maybe have like a giant redwood forest or something like it, like on Guam.
Yeah, well, we have our Kotal. That's a big long-term conservation area that we have, and we have actually crew members that have been with us, you know, with the agency for over 30 years, and they were the first to plant in that area, and so is seeing the growth from that area and what it can be and what our future can be like. Yeah, we'll have an abundance. Hopefully, that's our goal.
Okay, let's talk about PJ, about preservation, because most people think of like the Guam tree as either like, you know, the ironwood tree that I just referenced, or, you know, the coconut tree. That's the obvious one, right? Are there any trees that are in much almost, I don't want to use the word extinct, but like, you know, we could use more of?
Like our native trees.
Man, one of the biggest ones is the cycads. Right, our cycads got an invasive species in the early 2000s, and from what I see from all the research is that it attacks the young. So all of our new seedlings that come out from this cycad can't make it to adulthood, pretty much, because of this invasive species. So it's definitely one of my top priorities, but also, of course, we've always talked about the Cereanthus. The Cereanthus has been talked about a lot with the last remaining tree up in the north. So that there's a long list of actually of listed or endangered species that you could find out about on Saturday.
We got to get that list down, man. We got to whittle it down. So, Teddy, and I think the theme, you know, from ridge to reef actually shows how this isn't just, you know, a regional thing on Guam. You know, it's not just the North's problem, or it's not just, you know, a particular village. Look at that. That's a beautiful poster, by the way.
Really nice.
So let's talk about like exactly the scope and why every single Guamanian has to take it upon themselves to be responsible and understand why these are important.
Responsible is a really good word, because we're only blessed with so much natural resources here on Guam. Of course, water, primary, the northern Guam Lands aquifer. So it's definitely not only the southern watersheds, but also the whole island of Guam is considered coastal. So ridge to reef is front and center. This is the model of what's going to happen. Everything that happens on the land will impact the sea immediately because of how small we are.
This is good. This is good for the island, and every, like I said, you know, we are stewards of our community and the environment. And I love how you said that, Teddy. This is a blessing, and blessings are not.
So going back
not forever.
So I kind of caught it. So I represent the University of Guam Sea Grant program, right, which we're focused on coastal resources, but a lot of the problems come from the land. So that's why we're out doing the same type of good work that forestry does in our watershed. And we're starting to get a stronger relationship working together to address all these watersheds that need to be addressed. So I think this is a real good example of how we are collaborating, not only just hard work on the ground, but hey, let's celebrate that hard work we do with the stakeholders, with the community, so they can actually see it and be there presently to know who's who, what is what, and how they can partake.
Exactly.
Yeah, this partnership is really amazing too, because we just had like one of our most successful volunteer turnout, and it was, you know, with the help of Sea Grant and with high schools, with Girl Scouts. I mean, it was all across the board, and we are in our rainy season, when we go out to our plantings, we invite the community and everything, and they get to see firsthand what we're doing up there. And then when we go down, and what's great about the event, we're going to go all the way down to the bay, and we'll interact again, and you'll see actually some you'll see everything that we have there, and it ranges from tree identification to conservation areas with our conservation officers, and then even with sea grant. And so
And marine
it
biology.
really
Very cool.
Yeah, the whole
Full
event is a
setup.
community thing, and so it really is a celebration of our love for trees. And
I think that's a perfect word, the
Yeah.
celebration. Well, tell you what, guys, thank you so much for your time. We don't want to give everything away because we want to tell people, make sure to go to Jeff's Pirates Cove. That's in Epan, Saturday at 10 a.m. You are going to see PJ, Teddy, and of course, the lovely Miss Odessa there with information that you can immediately start using. Thanks, guys.
Thank
All
you
right.
too.
Thank you.
Real quick commercial break, and then we were going to talk about movie trivia when we return.